In terms of your setup, ball position, I think you need to make sure we get it just left of centre. You have a tendency to get it a little bit further left there in terms of your feet down. Occasionally we're going to get a little bit nearer to that left foot. If we're trying to move, just change the low point so we can therefore, as you said, hit down on it. If the ball is too far over here and you're bottoming the club out early behind this yellow line, hitting down on something of it is just a physical impossibility. You can't push the club down with your elbow like this, okay? And it almost looked, as I'm going to show us in a second, that you're almost trying to do that with your right arm, which gave you that sort of really weird kind of sensation. Didn't feel very smooth and very sort of bit disjointed. I think some of the phrases you at the start of the session was no rhythm, no timing, just no kind of coordination, was there really, and stuff, and no power. So in terms of your swing there, he was okay. As you get back to here now, your club from here now starts sort of hinging a bit early. Now just watch the movement sort of in your right arm and your left forearm from here can almost sort of stops and slows down, almost like a bit of a flick this way as the left arm's coming sort of going and doing this. It's not really sort of moving through with any kind of fluency or speed. So at impact, you can see the club now sort of overtaken, whereas ball slightly further back on this one here now as we start coming down. Nice shift into the golf ball here now. You can see as you come down here now, you've still got a bit of angle as you come into the golf ball. Okay. There's your left arm on the club at impact, okay? Compare that to that there. The left forearm there is a bit scoopy. You've gone that way. And just the movement of your body now as you go through. That's much more movement through the golf ball this way. Whereas this way, that bottom hand's very much sort of underneath kind of doing this. This right elbow's kind of doing this sort of motion. Yeah, a scoop. Again, trying to hit down on the ball.
I'm putting down and I'm trying to hit it with my right hand.
Exactly, yeah.
Instead of trying to compress it.
Well, exactly. And that's where the bag sort of came into. You basically hit the golf with the palm of your hand more to the ground. And a really good drill to get the feeling of that, I call it the dragging drill. And I'll show you one here now, and I'll demonstrate on the camera. But put the club here and just do that.
Yeah.
Okay, if I do this, this is your kind of scooping out, but keeping that club now, so the angle in your right wrist is there. So that's the impact we're looking to try and get, you see.
Which is then going to reduce the angle of the club face, which is going to
push the ball further. Yeah, exactly. Your good shots were going quite high and scoopy. So when you made a good contact, you were kind of going whoop and lifted up in the air. Good lie, you got away with it because the ball was teed up. Bad lie, you probably thinned it or maybe fatted the ball. But if your elbow's kind of like this, Ian, sort of pre-impact and hit down, now trying it down from here. That's not really a way to hit a golf ball, is it really? So the dragging drill, just to show you one here, you get yourself set up. There's your normal setup. Simply lean the club back here so the hands stay there and then drag the club over on the ground to the left foot. So you go from right foot to left foot, keeping the club on the ground throughout, okay? So it gives you a feeling of how your club and body need to work together to get that sensation of compressing the ball, as you said. The club is always going to be hitting down the golf ball. Okay, it's when if I have the club up here, even if I was to lean back here and hinge early, I'm still hitting down with the club. The club just hits down way too early, bottoms out early. When it gets the golf ball, it scoops up. If I try and then hit down more from here, not going to work. I need to move that low point by moving left, keeping the hands in front here, and then striking down that way. That's the downward strike to the ball. This is a downward strike, but early, and then a scoop.
So when you've gone through here, right? So we've gone back. And
Come back to impact there, yeah, exactly, yeah.
And then.
So from there now, just to sort of hinge up and a fold up over your left shoulder. Exactly, yeah. To be honest with you, the follow through for a lot of people. I mean, if you look at all tour players, if you could pick out dozens and dozens of different players, say the 24 guys from the last Ryder Cup, they all had, like, Fleetwood's a bit sawn off, McIlroy's a bit sawn off, someone's more around here, someone's up there, that's more of a personal kind of preference to how they kind of. To some extent, yes. I mean, if the follow through is kind of around here or kind of up there somewhere, then we might think, okay, to get the club up here, you've had to do something a bit awkward from back here, for example. But if we're coming into kind of a good impact position here, whether you fold it looking at sort of on top of your head here, down, doesn't really matter so much. I wouldn't try to position it too much. Just let the momentum of that golf club and your body twisting and your arms kind of folded. Just position the club where it goes. Don't try to be too kind of like with the club. It needs to be, you said yourself, it's not fluid, it's not tempo, there's no rhythm to it. Trying to position the club up here, and then you probably forget down here anyway. So just let the club kind of do its own thing, yeah. But certainly getting that impact position, the left hand and the hand and the left arm. So say I've got to win that race in back to golf ball. If the club head overtakes, either because you're trying to hit it with the right hand, as you said, or whatever you might be doing, that that club bottoms out early, hits the ground early, and you just either fat it or thin it. And then when you do get a reasonable shot, you're like, oh, got it. A bit loopy, yeah?
And I think Rochester, we played there the other week, last week, Andrew and I.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful tee shot. I would play the button. Beautiful tee shot on the 18th.
Yeah.
Perfect position. And all I've got to do now is knock it over the leg and
yeah.
And straight into the bloody net.
Yeah, that's just,
I couldn't have placed the ball better.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a shame. Again, off the tee peg, we get away with the ball being a bit teed up and a bit on the way up hitting the golf ball. Then off the ground, they just fat it or thin it and just splash, as you said. So, yeah.
It's just so frustrating.
And that is.
And I know that I'm doing something.
We're doing something fundamentally wrong, as you could see now. The thing is, we've now identified, we've confirmed your findings in your own head, what your symptoms were. You weren't hitting down at the golf ball.
Yeah.
You were hitting down to the golf ball, not in the right position, okay?
Yeah.
And you're losing distance, the strike was out of position. And the rhythm and tempo when you're doing this with your arm is going to be awkward anyway. They were symptoms. The fault was, the fault was the fact your body and the arms weren't working correctly, and this right arm was trying to hit it, as you said, with the right hand, which is something you may have picked up on YouTube. I've heard that a few times. Guys say hit it with the right hand kind of thing. Yeah, great. But when and where you do that, I mean, if I hit the ball with the right hand from up here, it's not much good at all, is it? Hit it with the right hand kind of here.
Hit it with the right hand.
The golf club gets hit by the golf ball, so the golf ball gets hit by the golf club.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, makes sense.
That's good.
Excellent, good stuff. Right.